Well. Welcome back, folks. I don't know if you can hear the rain outside, but it's not that nice out. But anyways, welcome back to the TJR Auto channel. My name's Tyler. My buddy Mike's behind the camera. And if you guys didn't see the last video, you should probably go see it. We got the engine bay basically done. And the paint looks great. Subframe's in. We're right around there. And we're just at the point to finalize the motor, get the motor butted up to the trans, and try to drop them in. This weather might hold us back a little bit, but a little bit of rain never hurt nobody, right? It's actually pretty calm right now, but it has been raining sideways on and off. So let's get into it. So, another thing we did too off camera was we cut the core support. Mike made some more fabulous...
You know me.
No, fabulous what?
You know me.
What'd you make?
Cuts.
So he made some more cuts. And then we drilled out some spot welds. I'm going to end up replacing those with rivets. So that's good. We got to pull the crash bar off, and then the motor can basically drop right in. Still got to do the motor mounts. I got to pull the trans mount off the old trans. Got to do a couple things to the trans, the new trans as well. But the motor is basically ready to be chained off of the stand, do the rear main seal, do the pilot bearing, and mate the two together. We have the back rear main seal plate off of the motor. It turns out it's actually got a comp cam in it, not a BTR cam. So I'm going to have to run those part numbers and see what that is. But just clean the surface up. I'm going to clean it up again before I do the new seal, which is over here. But if you look down here, this brown ugly thing, this is your oil barbell. So what this does is it actually runs this way into the motor. And if you look at the oil pan, like Mike, if you pan to the side, this is actually, I think your oil pickup is back here. So that barbell actually stops the clean oil from the dirty oil or something like that. There's a cool diagram I found online that explained it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So we actually have a new one of those. That's billet. So we have to replace it.
Chinese finger trap.
Chinese finger trap, baby. That's what we like to see. So first things first, we're going to take a small drill bit, smallest one I got because Mike broke all the other ones. We're going to gently drill into this piece because it's plastic. Then we will run a screw into said piece and then try to pry it out. Usually they come out pretty easy. I've never done this before, though, so we're going to see if I f*** up. I probably will. So, and another thing, too, is I have the oil pan covered so that nothing gets into there because I already did the oil pan gasket, and I don't feel like popping the pan off again. Ah, shit. It might be good enough to start the screw. Maybe more.
Got our fuckers.
Oh. Why? You don't even need to use a screw when you're just good like that. So another thing to notice too is that there's only one O-ring on this, and this end of the barbell is not O-ringed. On the new one, we have a bigger surface area to bite, and B, it is double O-ring, so it's actually going to be a way nicer seal. So now we will rip this out of here. Wow, that's really strong plastic. We're going to take this out of here. I'm going to clean that area back up. We're going to lube the O-rings and then slip around in. Ow. Good fit, good fit. Basically just pops in. Speakerphone?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if that's one. All right, I think that's it. All right, folks, it took a lot of work, but we got to this point. Mr. Webkey Racing is here, and she's got a drivetrain. It looks good. Motor, basically everything's in except the trans. That has to get bolted to the cross member, but the cross member is under the car. So I'm going to work on that right now. Alex just loosely threw this header in just to hold it, because we had to install the header with the steering rack between it before the motor went in. But looks really good. I'm actually super stoked about it. Hopefully the time lapse, you guys got to see everything we did. But yeah, what do you think, Alex?
It went pretty smooth.
It actually wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
I'm gonna lose out the motor mounts other than that.
Yeah, so these motor... What are you going to say? What were you saying?
I was just saying that we just had to loosen the motor mounts to get it to line up because this one has dowel pins on it for some reason. And it dropped right in.
Yeah, so what he just said I was going to say. So, yeah, these motor mounts were a little funky. We had to loosen them up from the subframe to get them to twist, but relatively with ease they went in. So everything looks good. We're just going to keep buttoning stuff up, I guess, and see where we get to. I don't know. I don't really know what I don't really know what the objective is. We already got the big stuff done, so pretty stoked about how she looks in here, though. It looks nice. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so she don't look too bad. She looks good in here. I'm pretty stoked with the color, the color schemes, you could say. I think the blue looks pretty good with the black and gold.
Look at that shine.
Look at that shit. Look at that. Look at that shit. Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh yeah. Don't get too close. You see the orange go. But we're gonna keep on trucking. So we've got some, or I guess really most of the engine harness is kind of just roughly, some stuff's plugged in half-assed, and then some stuff's kind of just sitting around. Just wanted to see what the routing was going to look like, and we're basically right where we need to be. So Alex actually recommended I lay the harness out before I start re-looming it or anything. So what I'm going to do now is make sure any wires that I'm going to be touching, well, really any wires in general, make sure all the wires are good, make sure all the plugs are good. I'm going to clean everything and probably strip off some of the old nasty loom, put on some new loom. Well, I hate to admit how much time I spent on just the engine harness. I haven't even touched the body harness yet, but the engine harness alone is basically done. Obviously, there is still green tags everywhere, and the only things that I did not do is basically like, the 2 or 3 inches of like the injector wires and stuff like that. I figure it'll be easier once everything's actually going into place. But, this is a beautiful beginning. Just look how clean that looks. That can get tucked back a little bit more above the booster. Just, obviously there's going to be some wire management. This whole section over here, that actually has to get fed down the top side of the trans, and that's all of the transmission wiring and all that jazz. Like here, that wire is the O2 sensor wire. So there's one of them somewhere over there, that one. So those wires have to get fed down the back of the trans. I don't know if I feel like I'm up for it right now, but this is definitely a good look for, quote unquote, simplifying the harness. Obviously, I'm not really simplifying it. I'm just cleaning it, making it nice. So took a lot of tedious time ripping up all the old tape and stuff, and yeah, it's all nasty stuff. But yeah, I guess I should probably finalize the engine harness and then move on to the chassis harness. So at this point in time, engine harness, bueno, BCM harness, most of it's routed and most of it's wrapped. But right now we are dealing with the fog light and side marker harness, which is these two. That's supposed to be one. So basically from my yellow car originally and from the black half cut, which is on that side of the wall that you guys can't see. Both harnesses were severely damaged. So this is part of the yellow car harness, missing a couple plugs. And then I believe this is both from the black car, but I really can't tell. I think these are from the black car. But basically, there's random damage to some points of the wires that I need to repair. Basically, chop it out and resplice them back together, just so they're safe. And with this one, there's a wire ripped out of one of the plugs and a couple other problems. So between these three pieces of, they look like scrap, we're going to make something decent. So we're going to go from this shebang to, and just like that. I wish it was that easy. I spent way more time on this than I should have. But look at that fancy loom, people. Oh, so nice. So nice. So one of these plugs is a side marker. The other plug is a fog light. And then the other plug ties it into the BCM harness. And then those two plugs over there, sorry, I just got 20% battery on my phone. Those two plugs are also, one of them's a fog light, one of them's a side marker. So basically, almost as this harness sits, it needs to go under the lower radiator support with the other BCM harness, which is tucked there. So that one's just loosely zip tied in place because I figured I have to run this one along the same way with it. I already tried to run the BCM harness through the lower rad support. It was not very happy going through there, so unfortunately I could not tuck it. But still, regardless, it's clean, it looks nice, and hopefully now, if I did this right, we will actually have fog lights and side markers, which this car never had, because from the accident, hard to see the bumper back there, this harness was like ripped in half. So this is bueno. But gonna get this in, and then there's still a couple wires that need to be loomed. Basically the battery wires and the starter wires. And that's basically it for all the wire looming. And it's very tedious, very long work, but I am very proud with this because all of these connections were soldered, heat shrinked, done right, and hopefully that's the end of it. You can actually see all the solder on the floor. I definitely didn't burn the shit out of myself this entire time, but another thing done, more things to do. Look at that back. So pretty. So pretty. All right, guys. Well, it has been a hectic ass week. So I haven't really filmed much, and I hate to say that because we did a lot on the car. So let me flip you around and show you what we're working with. And I am so happy to show you guys how far we have come in a week. She's in, she's together, and you might see a bunch of stuff missing. And the reason for that is I want you guys to hear this thing run in this video. I'm not going to worry about putting the belt on, the cooling system. I'm not worried about any of that shit. I want you guys to hear the first fire with me. So you can see, obviously, everything basically is in except the battery, which is over there on the charger. So we're going to let that thing stew up for a little while. But basically everything is here except the battery, radiator, hoses, belt, airbox, the beloved, dreaded drive shaft, and a exhaust. It's basically just open headers with like 3 feet of pipe on them. So we're really close. We're looking really good. The suspension still needs to be buttoned up, and there's a laundry list of things we still need, but I'm at the point right now where everything's buttoned up. I'm going to run to the store. I'm going to grab all the fluids, and then we're going to be able to throw the drive shaft in. My lovely assistant Audrey is here today, so she can help me bleed the clutch with our brand new speed bleeder, and hopefully get this baby fired up. We are back with some fluid. So, dropped $100 on some fluid. .4 brake fluid for the clutch system. We have 5 quarts of ATF. That is Dextron 3. That is what the Tremec manual recommended that came with the trans. And then between those 2 black bottles, we have 6 quarts of 5W30 Castrol Edge, power steering fluid, and then a OEM filter. So, first things first, my lovely assistant's going to come outside, and we are going to fill the clutch system. The reason I want to do the clutch system first is because if the throwout bearing lines leak, the transmission has to come back out. So, I want to know if I messed up or not before I fill the engine and trans with fluid. God forbid the transmission has to come back out. So, let's get on that. All right, well, I believe the clutch hydraulics are bled. Again, we use .4 brake fluid. Thank you to my wonderful lady, Audrey. Thank you, Audrey.
Yes, of course.
So now we actually have feeling at the clutch pedal like normal, under the dash, and under the car. I have a little bit of a mess to clean up, but that is our, I hate the beep, that is our bleeder line, so that will get zip tied up out of the way. I'll put a vacuum cap on the end of it to keep it clean. But now that that's done, what time is it, Audrey?
Fluid time.
There we go. I definitely didn't tell her to say that. Thank you, Audrey.
I bled the clutch with these clogs.
Yes, she did. Those are GTO clogs.
Yes, they are.
Clutch bleeding clogs. Look at this lady. But, all right, fluid time. Well, folks, this is the moment we've been waiting for. The battery is in. We have trans fluid. The drive shaft is tightened. We have engine oil. And I think everything is connected. So we're going to find out really quick if it wants to work or not. So yeah, we're going to start just by hopefully the key turned, like hopefully we have power in the car. I charged the battery for like an hour or 2 this morning, so it should be enough juice to get the thing to crank or do something. But first things first, I want to start off by just turning the key to prime the fuel pump. We'll check for fuel leaks, and then from there, if anything's leaking, we'll try to fix it, and then after that, try to crank it, see what happens. Dry everywhere so far. All right, you ready, Audrey? Smoke. I don't know if you guys can see it from back there or not. Hopefully you hear me over bonding some misfires and exhaust leaks. But when we took these headers off the car, obviously from our hands being all oily from other parts on the car, the headers got super dirty. There's probably remnants of paint overspray, clear coat overspray, all that kind of stuff on the headers as well. And another thing too is the motor is freshly painted. So when the motor gets warmed up, I'm sure it's going to kind of cook the paint onto it or cook it off, one or the other. But so far we have no leaks and no fires, so that's good. But it is scary how loud it is. You can't hear anything over this car because it's obnoxiously loud. And yeah, it's kind of scary to like leave the key but I think I'm going to fire it again and let it run for maybe a little bit longer, see what it'll do. Another thing too to keep in mind is I do not have the serpentine belt on, so there's no coolant getting pumped through the motor. So I have a few minutes of runtime on it before it would actually get hot, but still, you know, we're starting little. Looks like it's just the exhaust smoking. I can see it coming right off the header. Run! I feel it in my chest! All right, folks. Well, the day that I've been dreaming for and working very hard for has finally come. The GTO runs. Now, I will put the apology out there now that I didn't film much of everything that it took to put this car back together, but a lot of it was stupid stuff. I mean, I killed 2 complete afternoons and evenings just on trying to put the drive shaft together alone. So I'm not going to bore you guys with hours of that kind of footage and stuff like that. You know, that stuff basically just gets thrown right in the can, and I move on to other things. So once again, we're finally at that point. The GTO runs, and now it's still grind time to put her back together so I can start daily driving this thing again. And I don't know, I can't be more happy, couldn't be more happy to say that. And without you guys, without my lovely girlfriends holding my phone, it wouldn't have been possible. So to each and every one of you, and Audrey, my buddy Mike, my buddy Webkey, thank you to all of you. I love all of you very much. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to drop a like. If you guys are not subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Drop some comments down below. Did I miss anything? I probably did. But I would say for my first big build car, it actually went relatively smoothly. We didn't f too bad. So with that being said, that's going to end it for today's video. And in the next video, make sure to stay tuned for that one next week. We will be driving the car. Hopefully. I'll see you guys in the next one.